Hey everybody, welcome back to Drawing with Paolo. Today we're going to draw a special request, a gangster. And so let's start with the gangster's head, a nice circle, and we're going to add to this, of course, his neckline here, and then a diagonal line which will represent his shoulder, and then his torso, sort of like with a V shape like this. And then we'll add his side lines here. We'll add his left shoulder, left arm, elbow, forearm, his right shoulder. And we'll just draw a straight line sort of like here and then a little bit over here too. So we're going to draw a 1950s gangster with the fedora and everything else. So here's the fedora. This is his hat. The fedora is one of these 1950s hats that are sort of coming back in style today. So here's the brim of the fedora, sort of curved like that. And this comes up to these lines here. And then we need to do the hat's thickness, and curves in there like that, comes back around. And the hat needs to be as thick as his head, right? Just as wide as his head. And we erase the lines inside there. Now, a lot of people tend to make hat lines too thin, or the thickness of the hat too thin, and in a lot of cases it doesn't make sense. Let's add his ear here, and a little bit of a jawline here like this. And then we're gonna split up the face here so that we know where to put his nose and eyes. So put a line across here, and a line here for his nose. Awesome. Okay, so let's finish off his neck here, his shoulders, the trapezius muscles. Here a neckline for his shirt, because he's wearing a shirt. Here's his collar, a little V, reverse V line for his collar. And we'll add a little knot here for his tie. And we'll pull down two lines here on either side, just like this. And we're going to put a little vest on him, so this tie will sort of be hidden for halfway down, maybe. I'll make those lines just a little bit longer for the moment. All right, let's finish off these color lines a little bit better. And then we're going to color in the underside of the hat here. See this little brim line? We're going to retrace it because we like the lines. We're going to make them dark. We're not going to erase them anymore. There we go, just like that. And then color the underside of the brim once we have his hairline here. Just like this. Fast forward. Remember, you can pause this at any time when you think it goes too quickly. Pause the video so that you can catch up. All right, let's redo the line here, and we'll do his band. Then we need to color his hat. And so the hat is sort of like a, I don't know, silky. And so it's got some reflective surfaces on there, which aren't very, very reflective. You won't see a lot of white on this part. Sort of like satin, if you like. And so it'll be dark on this side here, and then a little bit lighter as we go along. And you want to keep a little bit of a thin line here on the edge, right? This little line here that's a little bit lighter gray. That's to show that there's a little border or a brim there. And we're going to do it darker on this side as well. There we go. And then we're going to do his headband in here. We're going to do it very dark on this side. Leave a little gap. And then color in a gradient, so from dark to lighter. A little bit of a gap there too, and then here will be where the light is hitting it, and we'll make it dark again all the way to the right side. This and the top part of the hat will be the same. Don't forget there's a little fold here, a little divot, and we're going to make that nice and dark. And we're going to make it just a little bit lighter as we move away, and then we'll add that same sort of light reflection here at the front of the hat. Awesome, now let's work on his eyebrow. Here's the left eyebrow. The right eyebrow that we barely see. We'll give him really big eyes here so that he's like staring at us intensely. There's his left eye, right eye, and then a little bit of a eyeball in there. We'll add a nose line with a nostril over here and a nostril here, and we'll give him his lip line with a little bit of a smirk. He's staring at us, and I don't know what he's intending, but there we go. A little bit of a smirk here in the lower lip. We'll do a little bit of a upper lip here, like a reverse W colored in. And then we'll do the outline of his face. Give him a little bit of a cheek line here, a curve. And then one on the other side, just a little bit too. Then we'll give him a jawbone and ear here a little bit. And here's the jawbone. His hair, sort of dark there too. And then we can actually give it a little bit of darker lines here and a bit of shadow underneath his chin. Let's give him a little bit of a neckline here and erase the lines inside. Now the lines I just erased are the lines that split the quarter of his face. So you know those lines we used to see where the eyes would go and where the nose would go, I just erased those. Let's color the inside of his eye here. Same on the other side. Got a little bit darker, and then we're going to shade in the underside here because the light cannot reach his face here at this point. So just color that in. Not too dark. Like this, a little bit under the eye, make that darker. And there we go. And the shadow underneath his nose. Make his upper lip a bit darker, and here a little bit of curve for his cheek line and then cheekbone, like that. And we'll make this little line here going from the side of his nose all the way down. Just give it a bit of shadow there. Alright, it's coming along. You know what? I think we're going to give him a little bit of a dimple here. Like that. And seeing this is the 1950s, we'll give him a bit of a mustache too. I think that it'd be a cool idea to give this guy a mustache. Now I'm going to give him a mustache. If you don't want to give him one, that's okay. If you want to give him a beard, give him a beard. That's cool too. But I want to do the mustache thing because he's a 1950s New York style, Chicago style gangster. So here's his collar. Now we need to erase the lines in here. And I want to show you how I do that. A lot of people have been asking, how are you doing that erasing with that hand swipe? Well, the hand swipe is all done in editing, but this is the real way. So just erase with my eraser there and then repolish off the lines. So I do the hand swipe just to save time because erasing does take a few minutes, few seconds, sometimes a minute or so. And this is extra time in my video that we don't always want to have. And this line too, we need to erase. So I'm going to show you how I do that. There you go. And then just redraw the lines that we erased and the lines we want to keep. And this is his vest here. So this is the opening. Put 3 buttons here. So one here, one in the middle, and one all the way at the bottom, sort of over here. There we go. And then we're going to give him his shoulder line here, and we're going to give him a jacket, like a trench coat over top. So we'll give him a nice sort of curved line here for his jacket, a raincoat, trench coat, and another curve here. So when you're drawing clothes, make sure that your lines aren't super straight because clothing, nothing is really straight in clothing. So you want to give him a little bit of curvature here. And so the same thing for the thickness of his jacket and his shoulder here. We're going to erase these shoulder lines just like that. One simple swipe of the hand. I know you can't do that at home, so you need to pause this video and then erase those lines that I pointed out. And let's give him a little bit of a reverse M here, or W for the bottom of his little piece of clothing here. And then we're going to color that in, nice charcoal. There we go. And I think maybe a little bit darker, so let's go over it one more time. Just like that. There, awesome. Okay, and now we're going to color in the buttons. Now, to make sure these buttons look sort of realistic, we want to leave a little bit of white at the top of this button so it looks like there's a bit of a reflection there. So I'm just leaving a little bit of a white speck there in the middle. I'm going to retrace these lines that I'm going to keep. And then the same thing for the tie and a little divot there in the tie. We're going to give it a bit of a shadow here underneath the collar. Color that in. Right, so it sort of looks like a Goodfellas type guy or a Godfather type guy, right? So I hope those of you that asked for a gangster, this is what you were expecting. This is the type of gangster I see anyway. When someone says a gangster, this is what I imagine. With the pinstripe suit underneath here. There you go. And the jacket line that goes down to there. All right, let's finish his arm here, his left arm. So it's bent, and we'll probably give him maybe a handgun or a machine gun. So the folds in his clothing, just like this, and then we'll pull down another line for the upper part of his arm. And this is where his hand's going to come out of. And let's do the right side here a little bit. All right, so let's give him some flowing curves to his jacket. It's blowing in the wind, so this is how it should look, in my opinion. Just like that. And then see these lines here that are extra? We're going to erase those. Carry this one over here. Just a little bit of dirtiness. Now let's give him a hand here. So we're going to just draw a sort of circle and put put a little finger coming out because he's going to be holding a gun. And you know, we'll probably draw a Tommy gun. Tommy guns are really, you know, how we used to, you know, they were the sort of signature weapon for gangsters. And so we'll just draw this little arm and a little bit of a fold to his jacket. This will be sort of like a silky material here. They loved clothing. There we go. And this little piece here, we need to get rid of that. All right. And now we're going to give it a little bit of a knuckle shape here. And we're going to give him some sort of leather sport gloves later on. So let's do his back line here. So and back line to his weapon. And keep in mind, we're going to have to see, like, I'm putting a line across here, but we need to erase this part in there. So get rid of that. And then we'll color over top of that again. We'll barely see that clothing line that we had there before. So here's the top of the gun. The thickness comes down to a taper at the top, or at the base, I mean. And we need to make these lines very parallel. This is curved back here, and then there's the aiming apparatus, whatever you want to call it here, the sight, sort of like two vertical lines that follow the lines of the gun. There's a tip of it there. We'll make this very straight and color that in nice and black. Same thing on this side. And then we're going to color in, draw in this little piece here, which I'm not sure what it's for, but there we go. It's on top of the gun like that. And we're going to give it that Tommy gun rounded magazine, so sort of over here. So it's a rounded, or it's a cylinder actually. And this is where they put their bullets in. And this thing would be able to hold a lot more bullets than just a regular straight magazine, which the Tommy gun could also handle. They could fit those on, but we need to erase these lines now. Whoop, there we go. And we draw the lines that we erased at the same time. So there we go. We're getting closer to what a Tommy gun looks like. We're going to close up the end of the gun here and add the barrels over here. A long, slender barrel with another one underneath. If you want to see what Tommy guns look like, you can always go on the internet, find what those look like, and sort of draw those out. There's a little bit of a aiming apparatus here too. It's just a little piece of steel or whatever that's out here. Put your target right down the center of that and pull the trigger. Now let's color the gun nice and dark. So the gun is a metallic black, so we're going to blacken that in. There we go, just like this. And we're going to add some metallic black to our cylinder here, to our magazine. So the drum magazine here is rounded, so we want to use gradients. So here at the bottom is really dark, and as we work our way up, we're going lighter and lighter, leaving a little bit of a white space here, and then dark at the front as well. So nice and dark here at the front. There's no gradient here as much. Just make it black. And we'll give it a little bit of a rounded shape here in the front of it. There we go. All right, let's color in the gun a bit darker still. I'd like it to get closer to what the magazine looks like. We'll speed that up for you, and you can hit pause and color in the gun. And you guys can use your imagination and draw the weapon you like, or if you like, no weapon at all, right? So it doesn't have to be like my drawing. It can be inventive. So here's the nozzle where the bullets come out of, and we're going to color this part just like we did the barrel, or not the barrel, but the magazine, the drum magazine here, and we're just going to leave a little bit of a white reflection at the top because this is steel and reflects light pretty well. And here there are little holes, notches in the nozzle that allow fire to come out. And now we're going to erase these lines here, which are the foundation of our drawing. We don't need those anymore. Get rid of that. And we're going to color in his left arm here a little bit better, just so that when I get to the gun later on, I don't have to put my hand on top of the gun and dirty it while I color in his arm. So let's add a little bit of a glove line here. So little circles on his knuckles. And we're going to color the inside of his jacket. We'll give him a lapel here on the left side. Double like that. Sort of coming out from back here. Same thing on the right side. Little triangular piece and another little rectangle attached to that goes all the way down to the jacket. And we'll give him the curves again to his clothing. Go like this. And you guys be really loose and free when you're making those clothing curves and folds, right? Don't worry about being perfect. And then we'll draw the butt of the gun over here. This is what they would use to lean up against on their shoulder. And it's really thin, well, sort of thin. And it has like a wood grain, so we're going to draw in sort of like wood lines in here. Natural wood was used for those. Sort of like that. We'll darken that up a little bit more. Yeah, I need that gun darker, and I think that's pretty good. Now we're going to do the same thing for the part here. We're going to darken that in as well. And remember to leave a little bit of a white line going in there too, because that's reflective as well. So just here in between, leave a little bit of a white line in there. The nozzle is also made of steel, and a hole here in the middle. There we go. All right. So let's take care of the barrels here. So we're going to color all that in black and leave a little bit of a white line at the top. We'll treat both barrels in the same manner. So this bottom one is the same. Just darken the bottom part and leave a little bit of a white stripe there. And we'll add a few more details here at the beginning of the barrels. Sort of like curved lines, just like this. A little bit of a detail. All right, we have one more piece. This is the handle for the second hand. So your first hand controls the trigger, and you need something to steady the gun. So this is the handle here. It's also made of wood. This is the back part of it, and then here's where the fingers would fit in. And up we go, there we go, for 4 fingers like this, because the thumb is wrapped around behind it. And this stuff we need to erase, just like that. And we need to make it a wood texture, just like we did the butt of the gun. Just like that. So let's color this in, and then give it some wood grain effects. Just lines going across like that. All right. So let's color this in a bit darker. Okay, so we're gonna start attacking his trench coat. We need to do the back line here a little bit more, like that, which is stuck against his body because of the wind. And we're gonna color this in. So this has to be darker than the piece of clothing he has underneath this jacket. So we need to make that nice and dark here. And the tough part is because the gun is black too, we have to be careful when we get close to the gun, not to make it as dark as the gun, so that could be an issue. But let's color all this in here, and then we'll play around with the shading and all that afterwards. And once again, you can pause this drawing, and once I finished my coloring, and you can follow along, or you can go at it your way. And if you're really intent on learning how to draw material and clothing and like folds like this, let's make his shoulder thickness here a little bit, like a circular shape like that. Shows the thickness of his shoulder. You can always go see my Darth Maul drawing or Yoda. Those two drawings really do render clothing pretty well. So today I'm not going to add as much detail, but if you want to see how that's done, go see those drawings. And here's a little reflection, because this part of the material is very reflective. It's sort of like a satin, and we're just going to lightly shade that white reflection in there. There we go. And now we're going to do the gloves. We're going to make the gloves made of leather. So they're very black, and there are little white lines, sort of like the gun, the barrels. We're going to leave a little white line there to show that it's reflecting light. So this finger has a little bit of a white line in the middle. You have to treat this one the same way. A white line there, same thing here. And the last little pinky, we can make that all black. And here are his lines, tendon lines within the top of his hand. And this part here is the bottom of the gun. We can color that in nice and dark too. There we go. All right, this drawing is coming along. Let's just do some outlines here to cut out what's what. Make sure that we know that this is the arm and it doesn't blend too much into the gun. And we'll color in his left side here, making it really dark to the left side and to the bottom. And as we work our way up and to the right, we make it lighter and lighter. So we want a nice gradient there. give it some depth. And we'll color in his tie too, why not? Let's make his tie black so that we give a good contrast to our drawing. That tie is going to pop out against his white shirt, and we'll give him a little bit of a satin finish to it too, so a little bit of a reflection color on top of it. And there you go. And we're going to add a shadow that comes off of his head there. The light is blocked, and you can see that on his shirt. Okay, let's darken this part here because I can't tell that's really like a curve or a cuff that's on his jacket, so we're going to make this a little bit darker. Nice gradient there. Let's color in the whole bottom part of his jacket. And we don't want to be too dark close to the hand because we don't want to lose the hand in there. Same thing near to the gun. So I'm going to leave a little bit of a white line around certain of these parts. And I'm going to color all that in. Let's color his right side. And we're going to color all this nice and black. Let's not forget his pants here because this little part needs to be black as well. I don't think he'd be wearing white pants. That doesn't make much sense to me. Make it really dark. And we're going to color in this right side, which here's the material flow. So there's wind and it's caught in the wind. So it's like sort of moving out, flailing out. All right. And now we're going to color that in. So here we go. Same sort of charcoal gray as the left side. And we can go over that, over and over again. We're going to add a few more fold lines here, go through the gun, or behind the gun, actually. And I'm going to color that in quickly. And what really counts here is just to see what it looks like at the end, and so you can copy that. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually not going to draw the right arm. I'm going to let you guys invent that. Have him hold another weapon, have him hold his top hat, have him, I don't know, hold a cigar between his fingers. You guys draw his right arm, and you can send me your drawings to paolomorrone100@gmail.com. paolomorrone100@gmail.com, and I will love to see your drawings and put them up on my website, drawingwithpaolo.com. And so draw up that stuff. Show me what you can do and use your imagination, and then send me your drawing. It'll be a pleasure to see what you guys can come up with. And it's just to, give you guys more confidence with drawing some of these things, sort of like what we did with the skateboarder. I'm going to have you guys draw a part of that drawing. And here are some pockets for our character. And that's that. For those of you, well, let's erase a little bit of whiteness here in his eyes. So for those of you who wanted a gangster, I hope that this is the type of gangster you were looking for. I hope you liked it. I think it came out pretty good. Now I'm really anxious, as I said, to see you guys draw this other part of his body that's missing there and send them off to me. They have to be JPEGs. They can be scanned or taken pictures of, and it'll be a pleasure to put them up on my website and see what they look like. So this is it. There's our little gangster dude from 1950s. I hope you enjoyed following me along today, and keep drawing. Practice makes perfect. So there you have it. Another great drawing. We'll see you next time on another episode of Drawing with Paolo. Have a great day. See you soon.